that can be defined in a single word. I was gonna put him
So what a solid, wise investment the Ukrainians has been from the West, right? They've definitely reaped the benefits. Hundreds of billions of dollars in weaponry from the U.S. alone. Tens of billions in some shittier weaponry from the fucking EU, right? But it hasn't gotten us much. It's corroborated Putin's claim that he was fighting a Nazi-led regime. And our weapons have turned up on the black market in some unsavory countries that would love to cause some dramas here in the West. To Zelensky coming out and outright banning the Orthodox Christian Church, along with 11 opposing political parties. Thank God we're protecting democracies, and stating that he'll think about holding an election the next cycle if the U.S. and the UN agree to swoop in and pick up the tab, of course, to their spring/summer offensive being an utter failure, and their prime minister telling you to shut up about it, even though it's your grandkids funding it, right? But where's your money going now? Because it continues to flow. Well, more shenanigans, of course, right? So you have some senior officials there, the deputy ministers of economics and agriculture being accused of embezzlement of millions of dollars in funds that were meant to procure food for their people at war, right? So once corrupt, always corrupt. And then you have a missile strike on September 6th, killing 15 people, injuring another 30, immediately being rushed out that it was Russian terror, but almost as quickly being found out that the missile was fired from inside the country from a Buck launch system, and all their authorities have to reply on that. They're investigating. I'm sure that's going to turn out some solid information here sometime in the next decade or so, right? Zelensky, has now started to draft women ages 18 to 60. So that lets you know how it's going for the men, right? Starting with women with medical backgrounds or education, right? This decree stating that these women fight on equal ground with men, selling it as an equality win, right? So it's fucking death for feminism. Fuck yeah. And this comes on the heels of hundreds of women that have voluntarily taken up arms, coming forward to state that their superiors were intimidating them, bullying them, and blackmailing them into sexual favors by stating that, if they didn't do these acts, that their husbands or men would be sent to the front lines to die, right? So sterling personalities here were fucking just, throwing destructive weapons and billions of dollars at, man. It's good times. To the new deputy minister of agriculture there, filing a formal complaint with the World Trade Organization against Hungary, Slovakia, and Poland, right? For terror, for acts of war, for helping the enemy? Nope. For not buying their agricultural products, man. Fucking real Karens trying to start like an international lawsuit because someone doesn't want their shit. Fuck, think about that. Claiming that it's causing economic hardship that'll last into the future. As again, they collect billions of dollars just falling from the skies, right? So now we got old Pooty Poop coming out, making the claim that Russian forces have eliminated or captured the remaining members of a UK-trained Ukrainian terror cell there to sabotage a nuclear facility. And Pooty coming out saying these people do not know what they're doing. They're begging for retribution against their own facilities. So it's fallout or meltdown. These people are willing to escalate to any level at this point, it seems. To the UN reptiles, backing this bullshit is much or more than the American fucking establishment, with their Secretary General coming out saying everybody better get ready for a long war, that wars last longer than estimated to begin with. And this one, if the Ukrainians put down the weapons, their country won't exist, right? As if throwing their entire population at an insurmountable foe is not already fucking accomplishing that feat for them, right? Real shit. But what's going on here at home as far as the Ukrainians? Well, division, fucking, chicanery and clown world as usual, man. The division, the absolutely stunningly gorgeous Anna Paulina Luna, Republican rep, coming out saying that she will refuse to fund the United States government unless funding for the Ukraine is eliminated, right? Not reduced, not audited, ended. Fuck, I love that woman. All right. On the flip side of that, you got another Republican congresswoman, this time from Indiana, the Ukrainian-born Victoria Spartz, trying to push an amendment that would compel the Biden regime to fund the Azov battalion directly, right? And this would go directly against an amendment already passed in 2018 that labeled the Azov battalion as Nazis and white supremacists, again corroborating Putin's claim that the United States government was well aware that they were funding and dealing with Nazis for years. But that 2018 amendment stating that funding for the Ukraine cannot be used to fund the Azov. Right? No conflict of interest here in the least, man. Right? And, of course, it gets worse. On the other side of the aisle, you have another academic fucking moron, Michael Rubin, from a DC think tank. That doesn't make any sense, right? The American Enterprise Institute, calling on the Biden regime to arm the Ukraine with fucking nuclear weapons. Let that shit hit you for a minute, right? That's exactly what a country that's pulling off fucking false flag attacks with missiles in their own country. That's exactly what they need, right? The key to Hades, dude. Fuck yes, man. While all these absurdities take place, America just hit $33 trillion in debt, man. But don't worry, because the Ukrainians are richer than ever, right? With a $39 billion fucking cash and gold surplus, the largest in the history of that country's independent existence, and it's all at the fucking expense of you, your children, and your grandchildren, and your great-grandchildren, because $33 trillion in debt means every dollar sent to these people is borrowed. Do you know what I'm saying? But, we all know that this all started with the Obama's Biden regime. Of course, 2014, and their inability to stick by the Minsk Accord and not try to bring the Ukrainians into the UN and commit fucking regime change, right? And, of course, we know that Biden was deeply involved in that shit, him being the rep here in Ukraine. And his family has definitely reaped the benefits, man. And it seems even the MSM is starting to admit it. We've played clips with even, the old Jake the Tapeworm Tapper, right, out here telling you that, the Biden regime says, they've raked it in. But recently asked again in an interview. I'm going to close with that. I'll let you guys see that clip. But I appreciate you coming by. Come by, tell me what you think. Argue, debate, tell me to fuck off. Most importantly, like, share, subscribe. Smell you later.
Former White House aides of yours who tried to warn you about the potential conflicts of interest.
Nobody warned me about a potential conflict of interest. Nobody warned me about that. And at the same time,
George Kent, the State Department official, testified that he raised it to you and your staff. To your staff.
He did not
to your staff. I
stand
corrected.
Never heard that once.
To your staff. And your staff told him he has no bandwidth.
Well, my son was dying. I guess that's why he said it, because my son was on his deathbed.